What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and if you're enjoying the content here on my channel, then make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe so you can help decide what direction the content on my channel goes in the foreseeable future. Oh my god, Robcore, man, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, man. This story is amazing. Man, let me tell you something, man. Okay. Dude, this story, man, this comic's an emotional roller coaster. Like, it is so good. Oh my God, it's some of the best story, man. If God was writing comics right now, this is what it would look like right now. It's so good. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, let's talk about this. So what we end up doing is we actually kind of go back maybe by about 2 or 3 minutes before Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen show up in the Flashpoint universe. And really what Thomas Wayne does is just kind of give us a recount of what it was that happened in Flashpoint. Again, you guys are welcome to check those videos out. Those videos should keep you abreast of everything that's going on. But the idea is that we're basically just kind of told that, where we initially thought that the war would end, with regards to the death of Eobard Thawne, with Barry Allen going back in time to allow his mother to die to keep himself from saving his mom's life, where that initially just kind of jump-started the New 52, we were left to believe that Flashpoint ended, that was just a pocket universe. The universe was created when Barry Allen saved his mother's life, and the universe was destroyed when Barry Allen allowed his mother to die. But what we end up finding out here is that's not the case. Flashpoint kept going on, and it shouldn't have. It should not have gone on at all. It should have stopped. It should have ended. It should have just been cut off from the source. But the problem is that it's still floating out there, and not even Thomas Wayne knows why. Thomas Wayne's just kind of like, this shouldn't be here anymore. The reason for why this universe existed has basically been undone. The universe should have vanished with it. Not only that, we end up finding out that because Flashpoint still exists, the war between the Amazons and the Atlanteans just kept going. Aquaman and Wonder Woman are still at war. Now, eventually, they end up joining forces against Thomas Wayne himself because of the fact that Thomas Wayne tried to lead an insurgency against them and basically bring them down. But the issue here is that within his own home, within what's left of Wayne Manor, he began planting all different kinds of explosives so that when his back was against the wall and there was no other choice, he was going to blow it all up and take himself with it. And at the moment when he's getting ready to hit this button, the Flash and Batman show up. Now, this is huge because this is the first time that Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne meet each other. This has never happened. And it's such an emotional moment between the two of them because, remember, Barry Allen's seen all this. He's met Thomas Wayne before. He was in the Flashpoint universe. They're not new to him. But even Barry Allen says it shouldn't be this way. Things shouldn't be like this. This universe should be gone. Someone, somewhere is keeping this universe alive. And so again, further down the rabbit hole, we're just tumbling down that rabbit hole alongside Alice because someone here has so much power. Somebody out there, presumably Dr. Manhattan, has so much power that they can control and maintain universes as they see fit. And so that's kind of the crazy scenario here, is because what we also end up having is that where so many questions are being asked, so many things are more or less being hinted at, we end up finding out that the questions more or less kind of have to be cut short. And the reason why is because of the fact that the forces of the Amazons and the Atlanteans are racing down to take out, Thomas Wayne and end his insurgency. And so, of course, again, the funny thing about this is, remember, Thomas Wayne in the Flashpoint universe was a lot more ruthless and violent than Bruce Wayne. He did not have the same kind of restraint. And that worked just because of the fact that instead of a child losing his parents, it was a parent losing their child. And that has a way of shifting people in a fundamental manner that makes them drastically different than the way they used to be. Really, it was like Thomas Wayne looked around, he lost his wife who became the Joker, he lost his son who was murdered. There was no reason for him to even care anymore. And so he did whatever it was that he had to do in order to try his best to restore some order to everything that's going on. But not only that, for the Batman fan, and indeed, even for just like the general comic book fan, we get to see Batman and his father, Thomas Wayne, fight alongside one another. And it's so cool to see this because what we end up doing, of course, is we basically have Barry Allen repairing the cosmic treadmill, of course, it's super speed and that kind of thing, in order to basically get themselves out of there. Now, at this point, once these forces are, more or less subdued, there's this really beautiful moment between Batman and his father, Thomas. Really, Thomas kind of begins talking to Bruce about the memories, or at least the memory that they mutually share with regards to their own past experiences. Now, this is really important. And the reason why is because in the Flashpoint stories, we never really got a whole bunch of any in-depth analysis in terms of what the histories of the characters were like before the events of Flashpoint in relation to the main DC universe. All we got was basically, hey, here's what led up to the Flashpoint story, led up to the events in the Flashpoint universe, and that was really about it. But what we end up finding out is that there was a point where the memories, really the timeline of the DC universe for Thomas in the Flashpoint universe and Bruce in the main DC universe were exactly the same. The divergence was presumably when Barry Allen never became the Flash. And so because of this, they end up talking about when Bruce Wayne fell down the cave. Now, of course, we don't get super in-depth into this. Instead, what we end up finding out is, of course, Thomas was whispering for the most part because he didn't want to, disturb the bats and kind of cause panic or anything like that. But in the midst of them having this conversation, getting ready to basically go about their business, someone presumably just wipes out the Flashpoint universe. They just begin the process of eroding it all. Now, again, this is just a crazy display of power. I mean, just an astronomical display of power, but we still don't know what's going on. And even Barry kind of hypothesizes on this. Was it a singular being out there who was keeping the universe alive and chose to go ahead and allow the universe to die? Was it almost like they had their foot on the gas and on the brake, and all they had to do was let off the brake and that car was just ready to go? Or is the universe just kind of wiping out now? Is it just one of these things with regards to Barry Allen's actions that when he went back and allowed his mother to die, the effects of his actions in basically eliminating the Flashpoint universe are just now catching up to things, and the universe is just now beginning to be wiped away? They don't know what the answer to that question is. The implication is that it's Dr. Manhattan who's just destroying that universe, but we don't know. But in this last little bit of a conversation, and this is when the story gets so emotional, in this last little bit of a conversation, Bruce Wayne tells his father Thomas, "You have a grandson. I have a son named Damian. You have a grandson." And this is when things begin to radically shift, because Bruce beseeches his father to join them, to come with them, to get them out of there. And what ends up happening is Thomas just kind of pushes him, onto the cosmic treadmill and tells the Flash to get him out of there. And this is where really I think the stage is set for the future of what's going to happen with the Batman concept. Thomas basically tells his son, "Stop being Batman. When I had you, I knew that I'd made all the right choices because it led me to you. Like I know that I made all the right calls because I had you as a son, and that you're the greatest gift that I ever could have had." But he says, don't be Batman. Be a father. Let go of your anger. Let go of your pain. Let go of your struggle and your strife. Let all that go and just be a man. Be happy. Be a father for your son in the way that I never could. Now, what this seems to indicate is that we're going to see Batman kind of taking his father's words to heart and maybe just vacating the landscape, maybe walking away. And the stage is being set in a lot of different ways. For example, in Nightwing, in the, Nightwing Must Die storyline, the one that we just covered, Damian Wayne's whole irritation is the idea that Nightwing will take up the mantle when Batman retires instead of Damian himself. We know Duke is being trained for something in particular. All the roads really seem to lead to this idea that Bruce Wayne is going to vacate the role of Batman, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just stay Batman. Maybe he'll just be like, I've got to live up to the legacy of what my father did and that kind of thing. We don't really know. But in these moments, in these final moments, we end up having this beautiful segment when we learn what it was that Thomas said to his son when Bruce fell down into the cave. And Bruce asked the question, "Why are you whispering?" And Thomas said, "Because we don't want to disturb the bats." Bruce, of course, apologized by saying, "I'm sorry I fell in the cave." His father responded by saying, "It's okay. Sometimes we fall. But remember, Wayne's never stay down." And then he just charges headlong into this conflict and he's like, "We rise!" And it's like the coolest thing because we don't know what's on the other side of this light. All we know is that something's there. And regardless of what it is, Thomas Wayne is just fearless. The guy goes out like a hero, just runs headlong into whatever it is that's there, presumably his own death. And that's the end of him and the universe that he resides in. And so it's just this incredibly emotional moment because it's Thomas Wayne meeting with his son. It's Bruce Wayne meeting with his father. It's the two of them being able to reconcile. And while Thomas had so many things he wanted to say to his son, the main message was sent across. Go find happiness. Stop living this life of anger and misery and deceit. Go be a happy person. Stop letting the death of myself, the death of your mother, dominate your life. Just go live. And so while the question is being asked, what in the world happened? We end up having Eobard Thawne racing up behind them. Now again, this kind of asks the question, where did Eobard Thawne come from? He was supposed to have been dead. Of course, we basically have Batman answering this question for us. So this is Eobard Thawne before he ended up killed in the Batcave itself. And so, this is one of those things where Eobard Thawne can exist essentially in two places at the same time. Now, we don't know where he's coming from. All he says is that he's seen who it was that this button belongs to. He knows the power of the person that this button belongs to. He knows what they're capable of. They've never faced someone like me. Now, this has huge implications for the story because what this does is this asks several possibilities. We know by virtue of the solicitations for The Flash number 22, the fourth part of the story, story, really the final part of the story, that it seems like Jay Garrick is going to be involved in some form or fashion. Whether it's his return, whether it's his debut, whatever the case may be, he will be involved in some way. Now, if Eobard Thawne were to meet Jay Garrick, right off the bat, he'd be able to figure out Jay Garrick's just not fast enough to keep up with him. Jay Garrick doesn't know about him. Jay Garrick's, just too honorable, too good, whatever the case may be. But Jay Garrick has never faced anybody like Eobard Thawne. That's a possibility. It could be that Eobard Thawne met one of the Watchmen. Maybe he met the comedian before he died. Maybe he met Ozymandias, and his idea is, well, hey, they've never faced anybody like me. I'm so dangerous. I'm so crazy. They'll never be able to stand against someone like me. Maybe he glimpsed the power, glimpsed Dr. Manhattan, maybe Dr. Manhattan doing something or just kind of meddling about his own business, and Eobard Thawne underestimates the power of Dr. Manhattan and simply says, they've never faced anyone like me before. They've never faced anybody as powerful and as crazy as my abilities are. I'm just that good at what I do. Now, in truth, that final option with the whole idea with Dr. Manhattan, that is the most logical scenario. One, because of how Eobard Thawne reacted, freaking out, talking about how he saw God. Two, because Eobard Thawne is arrogant enough to legitimately believe that no one like Dr. Manhattan had ever seen a power like his before, and that as fast as he is and as capable as he is, that he could somehow overpower Dr. Manhattan. Those are entirely possible ideas. But as we know, just by virtue of what we saw in the second part of The Button, that does not work out in his favor. That's sure, he's very arrogant, that's sure he's very cocky, but his actions get the better of him, and Eobard Thawne ultimately dies. But with that being said, guys, we are going to bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and yeah, this story is amazing. This story is so good, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.